Okay. Speech in three, two, one. Ladies and gentlemen, this House opposes the commercialization of Ramadan. This means that um, so now what this commercialization of Ramadan means, as you can refer in the info slide, it refers to basically businesses that are leveraging these Ramadan themes, such as the holy things that we do during Ramadan, for example, fasting, doing charity, getting together with our family. Um, Now businesses are basically exploiting these holy themes and traditions that we do it during Ramadan, because they want to because they're trying to drive sales through like special promotions, limited edition product, and also large scale marketing campaigns. Now now basically, um now as government, right, we believe that this trend, it it undermines the core values of Ramadan and also leads to negative societal impacts, which I will bring up in my argument. Now, um, my first argument would be would be the exploitation of faith for profit. Now, how does this look like? Basically businesses capitalizes like I said earlier, businesses during Ramadan, they capitalize on the religious significance of Ramadan to sell products at inflated prices. Like for example, grocery stores, right, they create these Ramadan promotions to encourage, which can lead to excessive spending. And also certain luxury brands, they create like special edition Ramadan products, which doesn't really align with the Islamic teachings and basically the core values of Ramadan itself. And uh, also, now, why is this important? Because uh, this practice, it reduces religion to make it like it reduces religion and make it look like it's something as small as just a marketing tool. And it also disrespects the sacred nature of Ramadan itself. It brings out a cycle where corporate corporate businesses, they gain financial benefit through this by, like I said, they encourage excessive spending. And also certain institution, right, like religious institution during Ramadan, they don't even gain profit based on these big companies exploiting month the holy month itself. And so I feel like it's against what Ramadan is actually about. And now moving on to my second argument is eroding of religious and cultural significance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Ramadan is a sacred month, right? So, it's a sacred month where I myself as a Muslim, we are we have to fast, and then we also have to practice self-discipline, and also have to constantly do spiritual reflection based on our religion itself. Now during but big companies during this month, however, they take this as an opportunity to aggressively market Ramadan themed products. Like for example, they set up if expensive iftar buffets, limited edition merchandises, and also um, basically they're encouraging people to go on a shopping spree instead of focusing on the religious devotion, instead of devoting themselves in the religious aspect, which is what the holy month is all about. And it also changes the perspective of the month. Like for example, Ramadan is should be seen as a holy month. It's a month where people should practice, like I said earlier, the things that I said earlier. And because of that, people now view Ramadan as like, oh, during Ramadan we have like, oh, it's buffet month. It's like we get to have lots of sales during this month instead of actually looking at it as is, which is it's a holy month to practice spiritual reflection. Now, um,
You know, I
basically the reason I'll take you later. Basically, it diminishes the sincerity of the religious acts of this month. Now it just basically it goes against what the holy month is about, which is instead of practicing self-discipline, it it encourages people to indulge more in and not practice self-discipline instead. I'll take your POI now.
so as Muslims, isn't the point of Ramadan to fight worldly temptation? And if we take that temptation away, what's the point of it? What's the point of Ramadan? I'm sorry.
Okay, I agree with you. During Ramadan, we are supposed to fight all these worldly temptations, right? But I tell you, if you have people constantly pressuring you to be buying like their products, or okay, say people who aren't like they're not really they can't really afford certain things, right? They can't really afford a lot of things. They see sales, they would tend to buy, and because it's such a big sale, they would tend to forget themselves and tend to overspend on the overspend when they go shopping because it's a promotion. And like if during a promotion people would the reason of a promotion is that people would want to buy more. And so to conclude, basically, the reason why we oppose this is that Ramadan, because of this Ramadan, because of my two arguments, Ramadan is just viewed uh, as a as a month to indulge instead of a month to practice self-discipline and spiritual reflection as to what it should have been known for. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you for that speech.
3, 2, 1. Members of the parliament, today the government argues that commercialization has corrupted the spirit of Ramadan. They claim that the businesses are exploiting this holy month for profit. We in the opposition reject this notion. We firmly believe that commercialization does not harm the sanctity of Ramadan. But before I start my points, I will rebut some of the Prime Minister's points. First of all the Prime Minister said is basically they should not commercialize because Muslims might be tempted to spend more. As a practicing Muslim, this is a very a very distorted way to look at Ramadan, because during Ramadan we are in charge of our own faith. We are supposed to control our wants. We are supposed to ignore the temptations, all the worldly temptations. If we if we stop the commercialization of Ramadan, what is the difference between us and the guy who slapped another person who eats in public during Ramadan? In the in the end, our own faith is our own responsibility. We should not police it on other people. Business have the rights to do whatever they want as long as they're not exploiting anyone. So I will start my framing with the fact that commercializations does not harm sanctity. Why? Because, as I've said before, religion is rooted in individual practice. And this happens with every single celebrations, such as Christmas and Deepavali, and they don't have any problem with it. So why should we treat Muslims like they are weak and they cannot practice their own faith without being babied by businesses? And the argument that by commercializing religion, we are making people buy more, this is wrong, because in the end, even without commercializations, Muslims are going to buy new clothes for Hari Raya. And by giving discounts, it does not inherently harm Ramadan because we're going to buy it either way. Second is the fact that this religious tradition can successfully coexist with commercialization. First of first of all, we should stop looking at commercialization like it's some evil entity. In the end, business happens everywhere. Are go- corporations are going to find ways to increase their profits, and Ramadan is just one of them. It's not something that we should cry over. So the government felt to see that by commercializing Ramadan, we are actually helping people from low income families. How? Have you ever went to a bazaar Ramadan? If you notice, most of these people are people who comes from uh, an economic background that is not privileged. During Ramadan, it is one of the few times that they can sell without a huge model. They don't have to rent out a whole business space. They can just open a booth and pay a few hundreds to the organizer and they can earn profits. And if we were to stop commercialization of Ramadan, we are basically stopping this bazaar. How are these people going to survive? I mean, they can survive, but they won't thrive during Hari Raya. They will have less than other people who has a stable income. So by stopping the commercialization, we are actually doing more harm, especially to our local economy. Second is that does restricting the commercialization actually solve our problems? So the answer to that is no. Even if you restrict commercialization, there's going to be small individuals who are still going to do it. How is the government going to make sure that commercialization does not happen at all? Are they going to police every single store in Malaysia? So, on top of that, by commercializing Ramadan, we're actually promoting Ramadan to people from different races and religions. An example is when we invite our non-Muslim friends to iftar, we get to spend time with each other and learn about each other's culture. This is going to help with multiculturalism, especially in Malaysia's current climate where racism is becoming a bigger and bigger issue. So in the end, so while the government might argue that
POI,
the commercial, yeah, sure.
how would you justify over the inflation of prices that are offered during Ramadan?
As someone who shops a lot, the inflation is not that huge because most of these inflations actually, if you notice, these inflations are coming from smaller business owners because they need to earn some profits. If you compare to the Baju Raya at Parkson compared to small businesses at bazaars, the bazaars are going to be more expensive because they need to earn some profits. And if we were to villainize them, we are actually villainizing people who don't have the capacity to sell their products at a cheaper price. And on top of that, the government might argue that these are going to lead to wastage and whatsoever. However, we have to I would like to remind everyone that during Ramadan, most sellers actually donate the food, the unsold food at bazaars, and thus they're actually practicing Ramadan. We shouldn't look at Ramadan in a one-dimensional point of view where every Muslim is supposed to do nothing and just pray and not spend anything. As someone who studied religion, we believe that Islam does not support extremism and you are allowed to treat yourself once in a while. That is all from me. Thank you.
I'm audible. 3, 2, 1. Timer, please. Okay. What is the first thing that come in your thought when you're talking about Ramadan? Obviously, bazaar. Obviously, you will buy a lot of things. Obviously, there will be cheap things in this, there will be promotions. There will be limited edition clothes. There will be like people selling kue raya and so on in this and that. So increases which means that the first thing when you come, the first thing that people come in thought when people are talking about Ramadan is obviously food and also selling, which means that people do not think about fasting first. What comes first is about the consumption and the spending. So I'm going to structure my speech is simple. First, rebuttals. Second, uh, defense, and lastly, why do government win this? Very easy. First, rebuttals. As mentioned, that Damia has said to us that the Muslims supposed to control and fight temptations. However, this is this is very difficult to occur in their world. Why? Because if this globalization increases the pressure which increases the pressure among society, which forces the Muslim to spend more. Because why? Because now people will see, like, if there is sales done in like maybe in malls, there's sales of stuffs. People non-Muslim will buy a lot of things, and then it will increase the societal pressure for Muslim to actually spend money as well and spend more because of this societal pressure that is created due to this commercialization of Ramadan. And second, and like people will buy new clothes. She said that people will buy new clothes and for Raya, and it's normal, Sepka. But then it is worse in your world. Why? Because of this combination, these companies will sell at higher price and also like lower quality, and people will sell it in bulk, which forces the Muslim to buy more, and they will actually spend more because of this societal pressure that I said, that the pressure that is created because of this commercialization that has been normalized in the society in the first place. Second, this, and then we try to attack, we try to see we try to see what the opposition case is. First, they will say they want to help low-income family. However, yes, they say that people sell at low model at bazaar, and so it's cheaper as well. However, this is untrue to the true reason. First, bazaar has been viewed to gather so many customers. Second, bazaar is assumed to has high sales because two things. First, it's only done in Ramadan. Second, it's very merry, and it's a the bazaar no matter how price, which means it's easier for the sellers to actually manipulate the prices and quality because they know like people will always come to it. Because it's only done once in a year, which means that the amount of customers who come will always come to it, which means that which means that no matter how bad the quality, how high the price, people will still go to it. Second things, they say that they want to promote Ramadan to non-Muslims. However, this is untrue and it's wrong, because first what happens is this conversation will allow people from other religions to actually judge how Ramadan is commercialized, because how it is commercialized in the first place, which means that people would think that, oh, why Ramadan? Suddenly the oil is cheap, suddenly the egg is cheap, suddenly people will sell this a lot, people will sell kueh raya, people will sell this and that so much, which means that it allows the room for discussion for other people from other religions to actually rethink about the religious significance of Ramadan itself. It allowed the non-Muslim to actually find the loopholes of why Ramadan is not perfectly practiced as what it should be. So now I'm moving on to defense of our arguments. First, we talk about exploiting of Ramadan. Which means that company and sellers are taking advantage because of Ramadan to sell things at higher prices and lower quality and etc. Why? Two things. First, Ramadan's always built an image where everything is culturally holy, so that things are believed to be sold at very high quantity and more concerns, because people will, and this will cause people to likely believe that everything is sold in Ramadan is very honest, with very high quality and very lack of scamming and this or that. So that it creates a norm that people believe that Ramadan is right. Buying things that creates a belief that the sellers will not actually manipulate anything like prices or quality during Ramadan. Second, Ramadan has been associated with commercial for so long. It's like, for example, like flash sales and bazaar Ramadan. People already view it as a norm where people does not care about the actions taken by company. For example, foods in bazaar are expensive, or market will sell stuffs instantly at high price. People will still say, oh, because it's Ramadan, a lot of people are buying it. That's why it's logic the price increases. So what is it bad? It's first, it's normalizing unhealthy business practices, which means like people in bazaar now okay with the instantly installation of price, which sellers will take this advantage to practice it frequently, and now more people follow this unhealthy business marketing, so that it promotes the unhealthy business marketing among sellers in first place. Second, what will occur, it opened rooms for the judgment from other parties. As what you mentioned, people for other religions will actually see it like, oh, why suddenly Ramadan this price is does this? Why do people see this and that? Why the promotion is increases to Ramadan? People from other religions will see that, oh, isn't Ramadan is actually a month for them to fight temptation? But why do you see my Muslim friends buy a lot of things? Why do I see that people selling this and that, so many things? Why do I see that people complaining about bazaar quality is low and this and that? So people it opens room for other religions to actually see the loopholes of how Ramadan is promoted is practiced in our country in first place. So any POI? 3, two, one, continue. Second argument is erode the religious and cultural significance of Ramadan is what Hannah has told you. How is it three things? First, so many malls are doing sales. Second, bazaar everywhere. Third, people promote products at like Kueh Raya and so on. So that's what happens. It creates an image where Raya is like it's a month to spend and sell. So it's okay with everything, but it is okay if everything in limit. But then during Ramadan, when there has so many sold, when
Point.
things are so many sold here and there, no, because it's sold here and there, because it increases the probability of higher and reckless spending due to three things. First, more products available at the reasons is three things. First, more products are available at lower prices because sales in more and this and that. Second, hunger will supersede rationality. People very hungry go to bazaar, they will see foods, very nice food. They will see like the food trending in this and that, and people food are trending because it's promoted in TikTok and stuff. They will buy it no matter like they will eat it or not. Second, third, people will buy like nicer clothes and furniture because everyone has been doing it because it has been promoted and normalized by the society. So that why is it bad? Because first, it creates a society that does not spend rationally, because like their desire will surpass the rationality, and it is high likely for these people to it's likely to be happening in these people because they already normalized it, because they've been commercialized for so long, for decades, for maybe like 20 to 30 years. It's become a norm for this extra consumption, so that this consumption and spending has a mix as in a culture itself, which leads to second increases the wasting culture in our society, which is like because of people buy less of rationality, because like the pressure that push them to buy more, and then because of the norms have been the culture that has been normalized, so that they will increase the practice of desire over needs, which means that it will create and it is obviously opposing the significance of Ramadan itself, which is one to fight temptation and desire. So that now people see Ramadan as spending money. It creates a mess up culture where it will be in normalized society that is against the Ramadan religious significance itself. So for all these reasons, I do not see a single reason why government cannot take this debate. Thank you. POI. Do you realize that now people are selling, most of people are selling in bazaar, like they sell at lower quality and higher price. This is such a bad marketing or even business first place. How do you say that this is actually helping M40 and B40?
Thank you. Opposition lives in a world where they're allowing this norm to continue perpetuate, meaning to say, at the end of the day, that this commercialization will eventually dilute the message of Ramadan and why it exists in the first place. And we've already come out and told you why it exists in the first place, right? We told you that since our prime minister, it's about fasting, it's about being modest, it's about reflecting spiritually and making sure you are remembering those who are not able to remembering those who are not able to afford their food, people who are not able to people who live from paychecks to paychecks, and the fact that you have to be mindful of what you're doing and during your whole time in Ramadan. And we tell you why this is extremely important in today's debate, right? Both sides try to claim over the fact over their context, which is fundamentally true. And on our side, on their side, they tell you that Ramadan is your own practice between you and your God. And on our side, instead, we tell you that at the end of the day, it's about, and we tell you that this is untrue for two reasons, right? Number one, I've said that at the end of the day, this commercialization would eventually dilute the message of why Ramadan exists in the first place. And secondly, this norm basically it just makes people forget why they're fasting in the first place. And secondly, talking about how um acting talking about which side of the world actually benefits like our stakeholders at the end of the day, right? Both sides try to argue that there will be like all these like promotions, all these special limited edition stuff during Ramadan, which at the end of the day will is just some marketing campaign that is set up from big company, right? And we've told you that this is harmful and inherently it's harmful, right? Because when this is continued to be promoted and encouraged, these big companies will just continue exploiting this um will just continue exploiting this and they just continue making profit and forgetting why they are promoting Ramadan in the first place. And another reason why this is also another thing that's coming from opposition uh that they want to claim is the fact that this commercialization at the end of the day will try to spread awareness or like bring some form of inclusivity because people are now going to spend their time in iftar together. But this is untrue for two reasons, right? Number one, understand that Ramadan has already existed for centuries without the need for even corporate involvement. There is no reason for this commercialization to happen in the first place because people already know what is going on, and this is not like a new form of like this is not a new concept, and it's already a norm that people knows during this Ramadan, this time of the year, people be fasting, and there's no need for corporations to come up and just like set up all this like grand planning that's unnecessary for people to like reflect back on their own like during Ramadan, right? And secondly, these religious teachings and these community traditions doesn't ensure the fact this awareness that they want to claim doesn't at the end of the day won't just it's just gonna turn into a form of a marketplace, which is just like generally bad because of the fact that this form of inclusivity instead of coming from a marketplace where people just look forward to all these events planned by big companies or whatever, it should come from like a genuine cultural exchange and not like a commercial exploitation, which is why at the end of in the long run, people are just going to forget why they're fasting in the first place. And secondly, it's about we told you that it's about a time of self-reflection, and yes, it's about community and it's about spiritual growth. Because of this commercialization, it twists into like this um consumerist spectacle that just makes it so that people are not being focused towards their own faith, but instead it's just talking about like profit at the end of the day. And why is this true, right? For two reasons. Let's just take the scenario where both sides try to claim they are benefiting lower income families or like yeah whatsoever, right? Number one, in the scenario in which where B40 or M40 people are the sellers, they're at the end, when they're like selling all these things in bazaar, and Roy has already told you very efficiently in this 7 minute speech that they are just going to inflate the prices. They're going to manipulate these prices to make it so that like uh because they can and people are still gonna buy it anyway. This is harmful for exactly the reason why it's just gonna dilute the message. And secondly, it's not even true that people are going to this B40 M40 sellers are going to profit off of this anyway because of the fact that the large scale of volume that's happening during Ramadan bazaars and sales, right? Because there's so many stalls, so many bazaars, and all of that happening, they now have to spend more cost on like buying and selling their stuff in the first place than they are getting the profit. And this is like inherently harmful. Okay, so secondly, in the scenario in which this B40 or M40 are customers anyway, we've told you that there are this norm and this pressure, the societal pressure that's put on them is going to be harmful for them. Because number one, this B40 and M40 customers, not only that they are already having like a hard time trying to like uh, spend their decide on their financial ability capabilities. Not only that, with the addition and the external factor of these norms being put on them, that they have to make every night during Ramadan and their iftar to be the most like grand or the luxurious thing, it puts them an extra pressure on them to make it more memorable, which is not, at the end of the day, uh at the end of the day, it's going to be harmful for them because number one, they're not doing their best in the interest of deciding their own financial capability, and number two, because of the fact that this pressure exists, they're just going to be spending and overspending recklessly, and it's just going to be, they're just going to conform to the fact that they're okay with the marketing campaign that sells all of these things at a higher price. So what's the worst case on our side, right? On our side, it's okay. On our side, with the worst case is the fact. Sorry, on opposition's best case is the fact that people are honest about their selling or whatever. Because it's Ramadan, people want to be good for other people and whatever. It's not it's not going to trump our worst case, which is the fact that this all of these like big companies are just going to continue exploiting and continue having all this special limited edition stuff and promotions going on, because at the end of the day, the most important thing and the most important part of this debate is the fact that whether or not the spirit and the essence of Ramadan is going to be lost, and we have given you enough reasons to tell you why this spirit of Ramadan is going to be lost because of commercialization at the end of the day. And with all of that, side with proposition. Thank you. Uh, I'll also do wait. Give me 2 minutes to organize my notes.
Can Ryan share the timer if possible? Oh ya lah, lupa. Damia can.
Able, and I will start my what's the timer screen? Thank you. Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. As opposition whip, no. As opposition whip, well, can I restart? Okay. Okay. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Three contentions in today's debate. For this debate, number one, which side actually proves that commercialization actually dilute or enhance the spiritual aspects of Ramadan in the first place? Secondly, whether or not this commercialization is inherently exploitative, or the fact that it actually gives some tangible benefits to especially Muslim communities or poor communities. And number three, at the end of the day, which impact outweighs the other. So let's move on to them, right? Number one, under the idea that whether or not this commercialization is like good or bad towards Ramadan itself, we tell you that the fact that we tell you that first, we've contextualized in a way where this, at the end of the day, it's about your own practice with your God. And why is this fundamentally true is because of the fact that this Ramadan acts as an external boost towards the season itself, and not just about because you yourself know that you're supposed to fast and you're supposed to be modest and all of that. And secondly,
Bill, I.
not accepted. And secondly, uh, proposition also argues the fact that proposition argues the fact that it's going to erode the religion itself, right? But we tell you what is untrue. Number one, uh, okay, because of they did come out and tell us that like these big companies are just going to exploit this iftar buffet with the high prices or whatever, and that they also told you that during the holy month people should be practicing this stuff, which we agree. But we tell you why this is not true. We have two responses to this. Number one, big companies are also businesses, right? And these promotions and these sales are not all of these promotions and these sales are all over the top or the most expensive thing the way that government wants to describe it as. Because number one, these big companies already have big expensive buffets in the first place, and on the others, and and they're not just going to like decrease the prices or whatever. It may be slightly higher than what society expects, but we tell you what it, at the end of the day is good because of the celebration of the culture and Ramadan itself. And if people are not willing to go for it, then it's fine because of the volume argument whereby during Ramadan we have all of these bazaars that sell so many things. The amount of things that are being sold are just so many that to the fact that they are going to be various and variety for all different kinds of people, different like status and um, financial capability, right? And number one, why is it true? Sorry, why is it true that okay? Sorry, the second speaker of the government team talks about mainly about how the bazaar have all these cheap things and all these promotions, but they also talk about how people are able to like inflate prices or whatever. And two responses to the fact that this is and but what they've never explained is the fact that the inflation of price is inherently bad for especially the sellers of the from coming from low income family, right? If people are able to manipulate these prices, we tell you that it's okay if it means that people are able to get slightly amount more profit than they can to help improve their financial status if they are the ones selling it, right? So number two, they also come and tell you that the norms are going to push
Bill,
an agenda. Yeah,
if they are the sellers, there will be also chances that they also buy for supplies. They also buy even as customers, which means that. But if like this trend has been normalized, all the prices will be easily manipulated and fluctuated. How do they survive as buyers if they're not as sellers? Because like we know, all sellers are buyers as well.
right. Thank you. Again, they are spending more, and then they're going to be able to profit even more because the amount of people who is coming to all these bazaars, and you yourself already said that all these people that people are just going to be spending recklessly anyway, and that's fine if you as a seller are spending things on a more inflated price. And number two, even if they want to argue that these people are going to sell a higher price, we tell you why this is not. They also come and claim that these things are going to be sold like this honestly because price inflation, right? I will tell you four reasons why this is not even a problem. Number one, the lack of incentive during the Ramadan season. Number one, meaning to say because it is about a month of fasting and doing good for others and giving to others, then there is less incentive for them to even sell the things at a higher price. That's number one. Number two, they're also concerned about like food wastage and all of that. And we've already come and told you that more likely than not, people now already have the incentive to go and donate these things if there are like leftovers available. And number two, the second thing, even so, we will still be able to help out all these poor families because they now are able to they have like an alternative during Ramadan season to make the most profit out of their entire of the entire year that they can if they are the sellers, right? And number three, because of the fact that these prices are inflated or whatever, it just means that there's more celebration or talent towards the uniqueness of like people making cake batter or whatever, and people acknowledging the fact that this is like something luxurious is good for us, and we will argue that it is good because of the fact that people are now recognizing these talents that people can make or whatever. And the reason, and the fourth reason is the fact that things are being sold in bulk, right? Number one, people are not stupid. People won't spend so recklessly if they know that these prices are not the prices that should be. And number two, this because of the fact that there are so many things, there are so many of these
Bill, I
everyone has no there are so many of these bazaars, people are going to be able to go and find which prices is affordable, which prices offer the best like quality to price ratio as they deem. And because of the fact that there's so many variety, it wouldn't be that big of a problem as what DPM wants to try and describe it as, right? So again, what did we come out and tell you? We've come out and told you that um uh the fact that during Ramadan people are going to come together and people are going to spend more time together, because of the fact that there's this commercialization that's happening in the first place. Because people now want to spend time with like their like family. People want to invite their non-Muslim friends for this communal gathering, and inherently this is good for like so many reasons of like celebrating culture, as well as reminding ourselves why we're doing this in the first place. Even if our government wants to argue of the fact that these messages are going to be diluted, it's not inherently true if these people uh if there are more people who's knowledgeable about it, and if the people want to be as luxurious as they want, there are going to be people who's going to remind them that this is not what you probably should be doing. Please be more mindful. And with that, side with opposition. Thank you.